Bug bounty programs were created 10, 15 years ago by companies like Google, Mozilla, Facebook. They were basically created to help them uncover the security vulnerabilities that would ultimately lead to a major data breach. Basically, they opened up their environments to the world and said, if you're able to find a vulnerability in one of our environments, we will pay you. And we'll pay you based on the impact and severity of that vulnerability. Synack is the company that the world's largest corporations and government agencies turn to rid their applications and networks of critical vulnerabilities. Our customers range from the largest global 2,000 companies, the world's leading banks, retailers, and healthcare organizations. They represent over $1 trillion in assets, as well as major federal agencies, including the Department of Defense, Department of Energy, Health and Human Services. We actually work with 18 different federal agencies today. We leverage a network of over 1,500 of the most elite ethical hackers from 82 countries who are on the hunt for potentially fatal vulnerabilities while utilizing technology to make those hackers smarter and infinitely more scalable. I think the word hacker traditionally has carried a pretty negative connotation. And I think generally people think of a hacker as that person wearing a hoodie, sitting in their parents' dark basement and hacking by night and sleeping during the day. But the reality is most of these really good hackers are true professionals. They have normal 9-to-5 jobs working at some of the biggest companies in the world. And so the way that we perceive them and the way that they actually look in reality is sometimes very different.
I'm Johnny Villarreal.
My name's Jennifer Villarreal.
I teach over at UC Irvine. I work for MITRE in El Segundo.
I work as a DoD contractor for Raytheon right now.
And I started my career with Synack Red Team as a white hat hacker in 2018.
On the side, I do hacking for Synack's Red Team.
My sister and I are both on the Synack Red Team. We have our jobs day to day, doing our full-time whatever, but we hack together, and it's a really interesting dynamic.
Having John on the platform with me is really motivating because we'll constantly be checking on like, oh, there's missions, who's going to grab them, and who's actually paying attention to this.
We bounce ideas off of each other. We struggle against targets together sometimes.
We're actually pretty competitive. He's still my little brother.
She'll find something she won't share sometimes, but obviously that's her money, right? And vice versa. With bug bounty programs, you get paid out based on the vulnerabilities that you find, some being worth more than others. So if you find low-hanging fruit such as cross-site scripting, you may make a few $100 to, 1,000 plus, whatever the case is. If you find a very critical vulnerability such as remote code execution, now we're talking thousands.
So we actually have several hackers that have passed the $1 million mark with Synack in terms of total money taken home over the past several years. So the ability to earn a substantial amount of money is real. Some hackers might earn several $100s for finding low-hanging fruit vulnerabilities or even completing what we call a mission at Synack, which is where we kick off a task to those researchers. They go pick off that task and they go get paid for it.
I could have something like looking for cross-site scripting within the scope that they provide. That would be an example of a mission that I would look for.
We pay based on impact and severity. We pay based on the category of the issue that the researcher finds and the data that's ultimately exposed. All of that kind of gets fed into a calculation to help us determine how much to pay that security researcher. So it really just depends on the project and the criticality of what they're finding. But an ability to earn money is real, and some people have even shifted full-time to be working on Synack's platform, moving away from their normal day jobs. We really are kind of the Uber for cybersecurity, obviously with a lot more security controls in place. We're not about big numbers of researchers. We're about the best of the best. That's why we have a 10% acceptance rate in terms of who we take into our community. And we're really focused on people who are productive. We actively manage our community. We make sure that those that are working with us are productively finding vulnerabilities and providing value to our customers.
I'm not a person who likes to just sit around and watch a movie. I'd rather be participating in something puzzle-like, and learning something and then potentially making money. People's privacy and like national security, that type of thing, motivates me. All the breaches that we have from different countries, stuff like that.
It was the coolest thing ever to be able to hack and get paid for it. And of course, not going to jail is a huge plus too. So there's also the satisfaction of knowing, we've helped make this thing secure. If I can't break it, and if some of the best dudes I know can't break it today, that in itself tells me that the people relying on it in real life and need these services can use them reliably and securely. And I think there's a little bit of satisfaction and pride to that aspect.
Cyber criminals are hitting hard during the COVID-19 pandemic. The crowdsourced security testing model is essential for helping these organizations defend themselves, especially when traditional security teams can't even get into the office. I think cybersecurity is one of those industries where companies have been very sensitive and against the idea of remote work, but obviously that is changing in a big way today. We have seen a substantial increase in the number of vulnerabilities found across our customers, but we're also seeing a substantial increase in the amount of activity across our customers in terms of the amount of time spent by our researchers.
Since the pandemic, I've definitely been spending a lot more time on the platform, and you could definitely tell that others have as well.
A lot of my friends, a lot of other SRT members are definitely ramped up the number of hours they've spent on the platform just because it makes sense. Platform's definitely been a very welcoming and I'd say viable option in a time like this, for sure.
Right now, obviously, companies are trying to push new environments, new applications, new websites online as fast as they can. And so they need a solution that allows them to thoroughly test those environments in a highly rapid manner. And we're able to do that very quickly for them, obviously getting hundreds of eyes on those environments without them having to spin up a consulting engagement with some third party. So I think this model really has taken over the security testing industry by storm. I think it is here to stay. And quite frankly, it has now become a de facto standard for most organizations in how they look at vulnerabilities across their technical environments.